Hello, today I'm producing a little video that explores the question, are the prophecies that are contained in the sixth seal of Revelations fulfilled? And that's a really kind of interesting question. I'm going to answer that as best I can from the perspective of a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Of course, it's not an official position of the church, it's just my views, but I think you will find it interesting. Well, I'd like to begin by spending a little bit of time talking about the book that John the Revelator saw in Revelations chapter 5, where he said, I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book, written within and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. Joseph Smith asked the question, what are we to understand by the book which John saw, which was sealed on the back with 7 seals? And he was given the answer. We are to understand that it contains the revealed will, mysteries, and the works of God, the hidden things of his economy concerning this earth during the 7,000 years of its continuance, or its temporal existence. He then asked, what are we to understand by the 7 seals with which it was sealed? He was given the answer, we are to understand that the first seal contains the things of the first 1,000 years, and the second also of the second 1,000 years, and so on until the 7th. So each seal is like a chapter in a book that covers 1,000 years of the world's history, according to St. John in the book of Revelations. So now, there were 5,000 years before Christ, and then about 2,000 years or so, a little more, since Christ. So the 6,000 years would have been approximately during the time period from 1000 AD to 2000 AD. And naturally, there's a lot of people who believe that we're in the sixth seal has already passed and we're now in the 7th seal. So it's a good question whether the things that were supposed to happen during the 6,000 years has happened. And that's what this video explores. So in Revelations chapter 6, verse 12, we read, And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. So the first thing that John says is we're going to open up the 6th seal and find an earthquake. And it's going to be a great one. And so I've kind of wondered, was there a great earthquake right at the beginning of about the year 1000 AD or something, someplace along the 6th seal? And I think you might be interested to know that in 1202 AD, there was a great earthquake in Syria. While the earthquake was a 7.5, and I realize there's been stronger earthquakes, what makes this earthquake notable is the number of people that it killed. Now, according to Islamic sources, 1,100,000 people perished as a result of this earthquake. Maybe not all of them in the quake, but as a result of famines and disease and things like that that happened immediately thereafter as a direct result of the earthquake. That's a lot of people. And if you were to take the same proportion of people that perished as a proportion of the total world population in the year 2002 and extrapolate that same proportion to today in the year 2020, the earthquake would have killed in today's terms 21.5 million people. And certainly John, looking at that earthquake, would say that is a great earthquake, killing that many people, that proportion of the world population. I'd like to note that there's been another quite a few earthquakes during the 6th seal that are very large and killed a lot of people. I have here a list of 5 earthquakes, 4 of them in China. Sorry, 3 of them in China, 1 in Aleppo and 1 in Japan, all killing several 100,000 people each time. We continue to have earthquakes, and there's earthquakes in the 7th seal of Revelations as well. But certainly that's a good start on some really big earthquakes in the 6th seal that John saw and really impressed him. Continue reading in verse 12 of chapter 6 in Revelations. John said, "And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood." I'd just like to note that Church President Gordon B. Hinckley stated that this prophecy has been fulfilled. And I have a video entitled "There Shall Be Signs in the Heavens" on my SC Turtles YouTube channel. If you haven't seen that, you might want to. I talk in quite a bit of detail of how this particular sign has been already fulfilled during the 6th seal in the heavens. So go take a look at that if you're interested in seeing more about that. So we've seen that we had a great earthquake, and we've seen the sun darkened and the moon turned to blood, all in the 6th seal. Continuing in Revelation chapter 6, now verse 13, John said, "And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind." Well, that sounds like a really kind of an interesting prophecy. And if you would like to learn about the fulfillment of that prophecy, I urge you to go back to that same video I just talked about. There shall be signs in the heavens on my SE Turtles YouTube channel. And there I go into a lot of detail about how that was fulfilled. And that's really interesting. I urge you to go take a look at that. But that has been fulfilled. The next thing that John saw, he records in verse 14, "And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together." And so you see the heavens, you see the sky, and then it departs. It's like rolling a scroll together, and the heaven's gone. Nothing there anymore. And I always thought, this is kind of an interesting prophecy. And I'm old enough now that I can remember the Mount St. Helens volcano erupting. And there was a video showing the ash coming from far away towards, closer and closer to the camera. And it looked like someone had just rolled up the sky, and when the ash cloud got there, everything went dark and it was gone. I thought, wow, that's just like what John must have seen. And so that's a possible, not just the Mount St. Helens, but whatever volcanoes he was looking at. It got his attention, and he wrote it down in the book of Revelations. The next thing that John records is that every mountain and island were moved out of their place. Well, that's a pretty specific prophecy, and I kind of wondered about that. During the 1,000 years from 1000 to 2000 AD, I wonder, has there been an earthquake just about every place there's a mountain or an island? And as you can see here, this is a map. This is the best I could find. It only covers 100 years, and there's another 900 years to have a bunch of earthquakes. And it shows little dots every place that there's been an earthquake. And I think you'll agree that in just the 100 years, there's pretty close to every place that there's a mountain or there's an island, there's been an earthquake. So that one, I think, probably looks like it's been fulfilled. The next verse that John provides for us, I find just incredibly astounding. I don't know how else to say it. I've read this a number of times and never given it a whole bunch of thought, other than I don't understand how this could ever happen, or it doesn't make any sense at all. But in preparing for this video and started looking at it, it's astounding. So let's take a look and see what it says. And we'll talk about what it says and then maybe how it's been fulfilled. So in Revelation chapter 6, verse 15, John said that the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains and the mighty men, everybody who's anybody, you got some power, you got some money, that's this group of people. And every bondman, now we don't really have slaves, but we do have people to work for these rich and mighty people. And every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. And first thought I had is there's not enough dens and rocks to everybody to go into. So I'm just kind of stymied. How is this going to be fulfilled? Well, it turns out that this is exactly what started happening during the sixth seal. So this slide shows a picture of the underground bunker beneath the White House. It is way down there. In fact, it's a secret. People don't know how deep this really is, except most guesstimates say that it's over 1,000 feet deep. So that's way down in the earth. And this bunker is just really, it's got everything in it you need. So do you think President of the United States is the only king, ruler of a country that's got a bunker? I don't think so. I think just about all of them have got a bunker where they can get down and hide and supposedly be safe. Well, the next slide that I have shows an entrance to a bunker that's built into the hillside. In fact, the next slide shows another one showing several entrances into the hill, where inside these mountains, there's the same kind of doomsday type bunker that has everything in there you could ever think of wanting to have. Looking at this was just really extremely interesting, watching some other YouTube videos and things about these bunkers. They have everything that you would supposedly want. People live in penthouses. They have jacuzzis. They have, it looks like you're above the ground. They have warehouses full of hydroponic gardens so they can grow their food. They have warehouses full of stored food. They have bowling alleys. They have swimming pools that look like you're in Hawaii. It just goes on and on. Indoor theaters, community areas. They have filtering systems that are supposed to get rid of every last little virus, microscopic whatever that could possibly be in the air. And they have energy systems that are supposed to last and be good, for 5 to 10 years. And these are in dens, dugout holes underneath rich houses and in the caves, and it's exactly what John saw. And I think he looked at that and said, what is going on here? And so they actually say this. They say, to the mountains and the rocks. Now, I don't know if you were John living in 70 AD writing this book and you saw bombs and things falling out of the sky down onto these bunkers. What would you call them? You can't say, well, an atom bomb fell down, because they didn't have atom bombs. But maybe you could say mountains and rocks. And that's exactly what these people are saying. Go ahead, rain down the mountains and the rocks, the bombs, the whatever, rain them down, let them fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of God, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Well, we think we will. We're going to be in this hole. This, to me, is like the people trying to build a tower so high to get up to heaven. These people actually think they're going to ride out the second coming and make it to the millennium by digging a hole in the ground and going into the hole and into the dens of the rocks. That's what they think they're going to do. And now this other picture, we got people that maybe aren't that rich, but they buy a shipping container and bury it in their backyard. They're going to ride the second coming out, living in a shipping container buried in their backyard. The last picture I have here shows an actual map of a community. You can buy into a community. You don't have to just own the one thing by yourself. It could be a whole community of people, and you're just one of the residents, and it's got multiple layers, and it goes way down deep. This whole thing is just fantastic. I think John the Revelator was just blown away when he saw what people were going to be doing here in the sixth seal. And I got to believe that what he wrote it the best he could, and that this is what's fulfilling it. The last thing that John sees during the sixth seal is described starting in chapter 17 with verse 1. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. They're ready to get going with this. With the angels, they're seeing the crazy state the world's in. They're ready to get moving. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. And he says, this angel's going, oh, hang on, stop, wait a minute. Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of the tribes of the children of Israel. Well, this one caused me a lot of wonder, because I don't know about 144,000, and it goes on to explain that there would be 12,000 from each tribe, and I haven't seen that. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened some way. I just haven't seen it. And but I came to realize what needed to be fulfilled during the sixth seal was 4 angels come. They're ready to start things moving, and another angel comes and says, "Wait, don't start yet." And that has been fulfilled. I think we've gone through the 6,000 years and into the 7th seal even, and we haven't seen the earth and the sea and all the green trees and all that kind of stuff hurt in the manner that we see in the plagues that happened in the 7th seal. And so in my mind, everything that John foretold would happen during the 6,000 years of the earth's existence has happened. The earthquakes, the stars falling from heaven, the sun darkened, the moon turned to blood, the kings and rich people, powerful people going into the holes of the rocks and the dens that they've created, the sort of the pause and the postponement of the plagues, holding off until we get 144,000 sealed in their foreheads. All of these different things came to pass just as he said they would. And are we to be surprised? I don't think so. John was a prophet, and he saw what he saw. The last picture that I have here shows that, well, what's after the 6th seal? Well, the 7th seal. And that's what most all of the book of Revelations is about, at least, starting from chapter 7 going forward. It's all about stuff that happens in the 7th seal. So that's interesting reading. If you found this interesting, I invite you to give it a like, but I certainly urge you to share this with other people so that they can find the interesting things as well. And visit my channel on SC Turtles on YouTube. Thank you. Bye-bye.